Hi, do you ever feel like a walking contradiction? My name is Nevaeh, and today my professor has instructed me to give a speech about myself. Now, well, this does cause a metaphorical mental war zone to go off in my head as my narcissistic ego to talk about myself clashes with my public speaking anxiety to talk about myself. Hopefully, though, after this 3 to 5 minute speech, you walk away with at least the ability to recall my name, and if I'm lucky, a fact or two about me. Today's speech will include my current college status and goals, personal preference of speeches and crowds, personal fun facts, and with some cheesy jokes sprinkled in between. Hopefully, they're somewhat good at. Now, normally I am a full time student in the typical semester period. However, due to some miscommunication with my college advisor, I have had to switch from temporarily from a biological standpoint of degree to general science, at least for my associates at MVCC, but I am set to graduate the end of next normal semester period as I transfer to Oswego to get my bachelor's in biology and my master's in genetics so that I may one day work in a laboratory developing things that help as many people as I possibly can. But that miscommunication has led to not needing new credits or more credits, but needing new course requirements like this class. Um, when I was looking through the new potential classes I could take, this class, Effective Speech, seems like a good fit in attempts to correct somewhat of my public speaking anxiety. And while this class is only an online summer class, meaning shorter time period, I do feel it's at least a step in the right direction. Um, Now, my goals for this semester are to help my anxiety, good get a good grade, and have fun writing loose scripts. Now, my previous experience in writing a speech and performing all that sorts of things has been, PowerPoints from middle school all the way to high school, one or two in college so far, not including this one. And I also was the lead in a musical. Now, at this point, you might be wondering how does someone with public speaking anxiety, as previously mentioned, be a lead in a school musical? Well, that was then, this is now. You can thank high school bullies. Now, after saying all that, I do not despise public speaking. No, I just purely hate the fear bubbling inside of me as my heart beats out of my chest and I fight back a tsunami of tears exploding from my face. So, I guess I'd rate public speaking a 3 out of 10. But my favorite speech situation is obviously talking to myself in the shower, giving a speech to a crowd that doesn't exist but always loves me. Um, no, just me? Okay. But in a real crowd situation, I guess I would say an open minded, silent, respectful crowd. Um, but a crowd with piercing, angry eyes, distracting me with off topic mumbles in the crowd. As I fight back those tears, it's probably the second worst case scenario. Um, but due to my issues, well, slight issues with hearing, I do look for clear, concise speaking ability with public speakers that I watch. Not that I watch many, but people do say that when I'm giving my actual planned presentations that I can read off the board, although I am trying to barely read off these index cards, that I speak clearly. But as you can see, this my internal dialogue trying to break free, I feel like I'm rambling gibberish. Um, Now, I'm not an expert in anything for what I would give my speeches upon. More like a general knowledge keeper, as my mother being a single working mother most of my life and me being a biologically only child. This has led to random bouts of loneliness and boredom, developing interesting hobbies and gathering knowledge of literally anything I found interesting cool, but again, expert in none of it, because none of it really stuck in the same way of wanting to learn everything about it and the ability to talk about it. Just kind of like scattered everywhere over what I wanted to do in that moment. But I will say, I could probably ramble hours upon my personal religious beliefs, though not something meant for most public speaking, and also my non professional techniques relating to drawing and sewing, as I did that a lot growing up too. But these days, due to, you know, not much time in my schedule, I find myself more drawing and singing as it doesn't take much material and not much brain power on my behalf. However, I will say, hopefully, you have, after all of this, you have been at least somewhat informed on my perspective with public speaking and my personal anxiety. If you've watched this far, hopefully it was worth at least a little bit of a good laugh, unless you're my professor, then hopefully it was worth a decent grade. But thank you all for watching, whoever, wherever you are. This is Nevaeh.